Hello everyone and welcome back. I have gone and seen another film and now I'm gonna talk about it. This week I went and saw Killers of the Flower Moon by Martin Scorsese, and I'm actually a little excited to talk about this one. And as usual, before we begin, here is your spoiler warning. So, Killers of the Flower Moon is Martin Scorsese's new film based around the story of the murders of a number of members of the Osage tribe of Native Americans in the 1910s to 1930s. It also boasts a star-studded cast, including but not limited to Academy Award winners Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio. So, coming from one of the titans of filmmaking, you can expect something pretty special to come out of this. So, the first thing that I want to say is pretty obvious. The movie is pretty damn good. The entire film was crafted with such incredible skill. Scorsese delivered as a director and his cast came through in full. But honestly, I felt that the strongest element was the cinematography. I kept finding myself just absolutely blown away by some gorgeous looking shots, even from the first shot of the film. I just think that Scorsese, in conjunction with his director of photography, really knows how to put together a picture to please the eye, which is really important because film is a visual medium after all. I like the sound design in this film too, but in a slightly different way to the way that I liked the sound design in The Creator from last week. In this film, Scorsese makes a great use of subtlety in terms of the sound design. There's several moments where the soundscape is rather quiet, kind of underplayed, or they use silence to great effect, and all of this makes the bigger moments just that much more impactful. So moments like various gunshots, the explosion scene towards the middle of the film, all of those are really, really brought up by the fact that they are these loud, sharp moments in contrast to a rather quiet, underplayed, realistic film. So you feel the shock of what these films might be, which you wouldn't feel in a film like an action film where there's gunshots going off all the time, or any other film really where the rest of the soundscape isn't very different in contrast to those shocking moments. Surprisingly though, I do think there are a couple of editing mistakes for eagle-eyed viewers to keep watch out for. It is mainly in the continuity of some shots, so if you're not expressly looking for it, or you're not used to looking for editing errors like that, then you probably won't be able to notice it full stop. So this time, I went and saw the film with Dad, and after the film he told me that there was apparently one scene in particular where the look of Leonardo DiCaprio was inconsistent between shots, mainly around the hair and facial hair styling area. And what I mainly picked up on was a couple of moments throughout the film where a character who was in a shot but not necessarily the focus, for example, if they were, the shoulder in an over-the-shoulder shot, that character would start a movement towards the end of that shot, and then in the next shot that it gets cut to, they're not doing that movement. They go back to the position they were, and then they start the movement again. This definitely happens in the edit. You're happy with how one shot looks, but it means you have to kind of sacrifice some continuity and just bite the bullet if you want to use the shot. But there are definitely more ways to hide them, and definitely ways that editors of that caliber probably should have been able to hide them. So for me to be able to notice it blatantly more than once in the film kind of feels a little strange. Also, this movie is long. It's really long. The runtime of this film is 3 hours, 36 minutes. I knew that going into it, so I was prepared for the long haul, but that didn't make it any less draining. I was engaged with the story the entire time, don't get me wrong, but because of how long it was, I just kind of ended up feeling a bit drained and tired by the end. But I really think that audience members going into this blind or more casual movie viewers will have a really, really hard time getting through this film, especially in one sitting. The ending of the film was also an interesting choice. If you don't know, don't remember, or walked out of the cinema early, like a few people did in our cinema, the end of the film is done in a sort of summary of what happens in the aftermath of the main events. And this is presented in the style of a 1930s radio true crime show, which did exist, by the way. I looked that up. There was a radio crime show dedicated to telling this story, so that is a nice touch. But basically there's an announcer on the stage talking about the aftermath of the events. There are different voice actors to come through and read the lines of the characters that we've seen throughout the movie, and then there is a Foley artist on the stage. I did kind of appreciate it as a creative choice, and I guess it kind of drives to the audience that this is a retelling of historical events. And all of these retellings of historical events are going to be retellings of retellings. So there's no guarantee that anything in the film is 100% accurate to the events that took place. It also meant that instead of the film taking an extra hour onto its runtime to go and show these aftermaths, it ended in about 10 minutes. So I did like that. But overall, it was a bit of a strange kind of choice, kind of takes you out of it and you're like, okay, we're talking about this now, we're talking like this now. Okay, sure. And then Martin Scorsese shows up to say a bit in the film. But that's all I've got to say about this film. I did enjoy it despite feeling absolutely drained by the end of it. It's honestly nowhere near being one of my favourite films. It's not exactly leaving me want to rant to all of you for an hour about how good this film is, how world-breaking it is. But it's a solid film, crafted exceptionally well, with a lot of big names and great talent behind it. So it's incredibly hard to hate the film. Regardless, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you let us know by leaving a like on this video, going down to the comments below, and leaving your thoughts on the film as well if you've gone and seen it. You can also subscribe to the channel, that helps us out a lot. Also, by going to the link in the description below, you can find our Patreon, where for just a little bit of money a month, you can gain access to some extra content, including these reviews a few days early, and executive producer level patrons get their names put right here at the end of our videos, and in the credits of our films. Thank you again for watching this video, and we will see you next week. Bye.